Well, hello. It's great to have you with me today. Today, I thought we would have another look at using a beautiful natural colorant to produce a pink tone. This particular herb is called madder root, and you may have seen me already produce something in this beautiful dark purple color using madder root. It's almost black in some lights, but it really is almost like a plummy purple. But it also produces all sorts of other shades too. And today I thought we'd have a look at an alternative way of making a beautiful soap with this colorant. Hi, I'm Sarah Janes from Soap School. It's lovely to have you with me today. This is a lovely, simple recipe. I'll make sure to put all of the ingredients up on the screen for you. The first thing we need to do is to mix our lye solution up. I'm going to use ice rather than water just to speed the entire process up. And I've got 120 grams of ice, and to that I'm adding 55 grams of my sodium hydroxide. Now, of course, you can absolutely just use water. This is just a little bit of a speed up. And the heat from the lye is going to melt the ice really quickly. Just stir that until it's fully dissolved. And we'll set that to one side. I'm going to add some madder root into the lye solution itself. And then give that a good mixing. And you'll see it really changes colour quite quickly. Quite dark. It won't be that dark in the soap. If you don't like the bits, you can absolutely strain this. You can infuse it and strain it. But I actually want the little bits in it this time. I want those little flecks. Adds a little bit of interest and dimension to the soap. A little bit of texture. Now, there are a couple of different types of madder, so I do quickly want to touch on this. This particular one is madder root extract, and this is the Rubia tinctoria. This is a European madder, which is also sometimes known as rose madder. This comes from Eastern Europe and also from Persia, and it is different to the Indian madder. So it is not India madder. It's a question that I had last time. People thought that I was using India madder. We're not. We're using Rubia tinctoria and not the Rubia cordifolia, which is the Indian version. I find that the Indian version tends to be a little bit more orange in tone, but definitely the colour that you achieve will depend on where you're buying your madder from. I'm buying mine from a company called the Wonky Weaver. I'm going with a classic recipe. You could use any soap recipe that you like. I'm using responsibly sourced palm oil for mine, but if you prefer to use a palm-free recipe, you could use whichever recipe you prefer and still add your madder root into that recipe. I'm adding 80 grams of beautiful coconut oil. It's going to give us all of the lather and bubbles that we need in our bar. And then I'm just going to melt these down until they liquefy. I don't want them really hot, I just want them melted. Once your oils have melted down, we need to add in any liquid oils that are in your recipe. I'm using beautiful extra virgin olive oil in my recipe, and I want 200 grams. And then we just need to give that a really thorough mixing. We've got hot and cold oils in here and we want them all uniform. So the temperature now is absolutely perfect at 107 degrees Fahrenheit. That's 41.7 degrees Celsius. So we're now ready for making our beautiful soap. So I love the way that this particular madder root is sometimes known as rose madder. I think it's really fitting with some of the colours that you can get. And we can infuse it in different ways. So I'll put the link to the other video where I made it into this beautiful deep purple colour, and you can check that out and how I used it there. This time we were infusing it into the lye solution, but you can also infuse it into your oils in advance, and that gives you a completely different colour again. So there's so much variation. Even whether you gel or don't gel your soaps, the colour changes. So you really can get everything from an almost pale apricot colour all of the way through to the deepest, deepest purple. Now, there aren't a ton of benefits in madder root itself, or certainly not a huge amount that I've been able to find out about, but there are some. The main one is that it has skin conditioning properties, and who wouldn't want those? I mean, that's absolutely perfect for us when we're making soaps. It does have skin soothing properties, and it's sometimes used as a tonic. Traditionally, it's been used for treating things like acne or skin irritations, and apparently it has aphrodisiac properties. Well, I'm not really sure that I want those right now. I think I'll stick with the skin conditioning properties in my soap. Let's move these previous ones off to one side. And I'm going to just take this. I'm going to use the exact same mould that I used last time. And I'm going to take this to just a light trace so that we can pour it nicely into the moulds. Give it a bit of a burp, and let's trace this. I'm going to add my essential oil blend. You could absolutely use a fragrance oil if you wanted to. And rose geranium does have a tendency to thicken up quite quickly, so I'm not adding extra power at this stage because it could very quickly go too thick on me. Great. And the amazing thing with your soaps, when you're using natural botanicals like this, is you've really got no way of knowing what the colour will come out like at the end, because they can change massively. And then let's pour this into our cavities. Now, last time I used cranberry seeds. This time I'm not using anything. I'm literally just using the madder root itself. This is actually a colorant that I really love using with rose hips. Just seems to work so nicely. The colour of the rose hip shells, finely ground down and mixed into the soap, it just works beautifully. And then I'm just going to give it a quick misting with some rubbing alcohol, just to help prevent any ashing on the surface. We didn't get any ash at all last time on the soap, either on the back or the front. And these are quite a few months old and they haven't changed colour at all. They've held the colour beautifully and there's no ashing whatsoever. So fingers crossed that it works as well for us this time too. So is madder root something that you've worked with? And if so, have you used the European madder, the Rubia tinctoria, or have you used the Indian version? And that's the Rubia cordifolia. I'd love to know, and tell me which your favourite is. Fingers crossed these turn out beautifully.